In the summer of 1957, the oil pumps outside Taft never stopped moving. Day and night, they bowed to the earth like giant metal vultures feeding from the dry hills of Kern County. The air smelled like dust, gasoline, and heat. Men came to Taft for work, for oil money, for survival. But not everyone was welcome to stay once the sun went down. Isaiah Turner learned that before he ever saw the sign. He was 26 years old, a Korean War veteran, driving west from Louisiana in a faded green Chevrolet with a suitcase full of neatly folded shirts and military papers proving he had served his country. He had heard there was work in California oil fields, real work, steady work, and he carried that hope across deserts and state lines until the road brought him into Taft just before sunset. The town looked small but alive. Men in denim jackets crowded outside diners. Kids rode bicycles through dusty streets. A radio somewhere played Elvis Presley loud enough to echo between storefront windows. For a moment, Isaiah thought California looked different from the South. Then he stopped at a gas station. The attendant, an older white man with gray stubble and oil-stained hands, stared at him too long before speaking. "You passing through?" Isaiah glanced at the fuel gauge. "Looking for work." The man didn't smile. "You should keep driving." Isaiah frowned. "Why's that?" The attendant looked toward the horizon where the orange sun was beginning to sink behind the hills. "Because this town changes after dark." Before Isaiah could ask another question, another truck rolled into the station. Two white men inside watched him silently, not curious, not friendly, measuring him. The attendant stepped closer and lowered his voice. "Ain't saying it's right," he muttered. "Just saying you don't want trouble here." Isaiah noticed it then. Nailed crooked beside an old wooden fence near the station was a weathered board with faded white paint. Most of the lettering had cracked from years in the sun, but enough remained to understand the message. "No colored allowed after dark." His stomach tightened. Back in Louisiana, signs like that were expected. But California? People back home talked about California like it was freedom, palm trees, opportunity, a place where a man could reinvent himself. Instead, the same fear had followed him west. Isaiah drove farther into town anyway. He parked outside a cafe and walked in, hungry, dusty, exhausted from the road. Conversations stopped almost immediately. Forks froze halfway to mouths. A waitress looked toward the kitchen instead of at him. "We're closed," she said. He glanced around at the crowded tables. "Doesn't look closed." "We are for you." The room stayed silent. One man near the counter smirked without even trying to hide it. Isaiah stood there for another second, feeling every eye on him, then turned and walked back outside before his anger exploded into something dangerous. Night settled fast in Taft. The streets emptied except for pickup trucks rumbling past with headlights cutting through dust clouds. Isaiah pulled near the edge of town beside an oil field and considered sleeping in his car until morning. Then another vehicle approached, a sheriff's cruiser. The deputy stepped out slowly, thumbs tucked behind his belt. "You lost?" "No, sir," Isaiah answered carefully. "You can't stay here tonight." "I'm just sleeping in my car." The deputy looked at him for a long moment before speaking again. "Son, I'm giving you a chance to leave peacefully." Isaiah noticed another truck parked farther down the road now. 3 men stood beside it, smoking cigarettes, watching, waiting. The deputy followed his gaze. Then, quieter now, almost human for the first time, he said, "You leave now while you still can." Isaiah understood. The law wasn't there to protect him. It was there to escort him out before somebody else decided to do worse. He started the engine. As he drove away from Taft, the oil pumps faded into darkness behind him, still moving endlessly under the night sky. Years later, Isaiah would tell his grandchildren about that town in California that looked free until sunset. He would tell them how racism didn't always wear white robes or scream slurs from courthouse steps. Sometimes it lived in silence, in warnings, in the nervous look from a gas station attendant who knew exactly what could happen after dark. And he would tell them something else too, that he kept driving, that he survived, that people like him kept moving forward anyway, even when entire towns tried to erase them from the map. The road west did not end in Taft. It kept going, and so did he.